How's it going, everyone? Your boy Corey, aka Crasher, here with a new video, and ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a pretty big thing to discuss in regards to the Pokemon/leaking community. We have ourselves an article on Centro that details it further. It is titled, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet leaker Centro suspended as Nintendo cracks down. Well, let's crack this open and see what we got here. Popular Pokemon leaker Centro has been suspended from Twitter as Nintendo has begun cracking down on Scarlet and Violet leaks leading up to the game's release. The time is finally here. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are set to release on November 18, and fans around the world are anxiously awaiting to begin their exploration of the Gen 9 Paldea region. The long-awaited games began leaking on the internet over the last few weeks, but it appears that Nintendo has begun cracking down on the accounts sharing information. One of the most prominent accounts, Centro, was among the first to be hit as they're now suspended from Twitter. Pokemon leaker suspended from Twitter after Nintendo DMCA. In the early morning of November 16, Centro learned that the account where they had posted leaks of the game was suspended by Twitter due to a violation of the platform's rules. At the time of suspension, the account amassed over 323,000 followers since it was created, with a recent surge of nearly 100,000 according to Social Blade. While it hasn't been made explicitly known whether or not Centro's account was hit with a DMCA by Nintendo, it's safe to assume that's the case here, as they are well known for cracking down on copyright infringement. Twitter's copyright policy reads, and I quote, "Twitter will respond to reports of alleged copyright infringement, such as allegations concerning the unauthorized use of a copyrighted video or image uploaded through our media hosting services, or tweets containing links to allegedly infringing materials." With the game's release coming in mere days, be sure to check out our Pokemon Scarlet and Violet section for any news and guides you may need. Alright, so now it's time for my thoughts on this, and there's a few things I gotta say, but I'm gonna open things up by saying that this right here doesn't exactly surprise me too much, and here's why. If you're dedicated to leaking out unreleased information and imagery prior to the game's release, and you're amassing a huge following as a result, word's gonna spread, and it's eventually going to get to the head honchos, and they're more likely than not going to do something about it, and in this case here, they ended up shutting down Centro because of all of the Scarlet and Violet leaks that have been circulating over the internet. So if the direct leakers are being punished as a result, doesn't exactly surprise me too much. However, this is where my opinion and my stance on this begins to shift a little bit, and I'm gonna explain why that is. So it's one thing if you are directly hacking into and leaking the game, i.e. leaking the information, leaking the spoilers imagery to the entirety of the community, that's one thing. But what about those who choose to talk about it? What about those who choose to cover it, such as news/article outlets, such as YouTubers? You know what I'm saying? This is where things get to be a little bit more complicated, and this is where my opinion begins to change a little bit here. And that right there revolves around not just freedom of expression, but freedom of the press. In fact, I'll actually read to you guys real quick when it comes to freedom of the press. Freedom of the press, a fundamental freedom under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, is the right of media to gather, publish, and distribute information and ideas without government restriction, censorship, or prior restraint. So this right here is where I feel us content creators and us sources, when it comes to writing articles or whatever, we should be protected under the freedom of the press. And that right there is where things are a little bit more tricky to kind of weave your way through and stuff like that, because on one end, you know, it is Nintendo just protecting their IP, their intellectual property, which they have full rights to do. But then again, an argument can be made for the other side here. But I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, these right here are just my own thoughts and opinions on the matter. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with any of my takes? Do you guys disagree with any of my takes? And what are your guys' thoughts overall on the subject that we discussed here in tonight's video? Regardless of your guys' opinions, you know your boy always loves to hear from you beautiful people. Just remember to keep the respect factor in check, and also to keep it 100 with each other. Whether or not we disagree with each other, let's all keep it civil in the comments down below. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your time as well in viewing this video. Have yourself a damn good one, you beautiful people, and I'll see you next time.